Indonesia has various cultures from its local ethnics. Each region has its different characteristics. Madiun is a city located in East Java. Its motto as Kota Gadis, Perdagangan, Pendidikan, dan Perindustrian, Universitas PGRI Madiun Unipma plays a major role to develop the quality of education both nationally and internationally. Universitas PGRI Madiun Unipma has achieved some award, winning the award of Top University Aku from Cohort 7, getting institution accreditation B, winning national competition grants, and many more. Unipma has 2 postgraduate programs and 4 faculties for undergraduate program with 22 departments. Postgraduate program, Indonesian language and literature education and social science education. Undergraduate programs, Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, Faculty of Health Sciences and Science, Faculty of Engineering, and Faculty of Economics and Business. To support students' activities and develop students' talents and creativities, there are also some students' activity centers: choir, band, theater, modern and traditional dance, karate, student regiment, and scout. In encouraging the smart and competitive alumni, Unipma also provides representative facilities, convenient classrooms, Campus 1, Campus 2, Campus 3, library, laboratories, micro-teaching and computer, sports center, language and culture center, Graha Cendekia, dormitory, gamelan room. Universitas PGRI Madiun Unipma commits to give learning-oriented education and student independence to develop their abilities and skills by organizing some activities such as national and international seminars.
Universitas PGRI Madiun, smart and competitive.
Unipma, smart and competitive.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming on time. And I would like to remind you all to rename your name. For the participant, you can write down the participant underscores your name. And then for the presenter, please type your code and then the room and then your name. The right one is like Ibu Munawaroh and then Lina and Nani. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mbak. I send video.
Yes.
Ya, sudah mengirimkan video. Oke.
Ibu Munawaroh. Oh, okay. Let me inform you for the presenter who will present in the live. They will present in the first time, and then for the last is for the video. So the live first, and then the video.
Hello, ma'am. Good morning.
Yes.
Yes, good morning.
I have a question.
Yes.
In research presentation, we are more than one in a presentation, ma'am. Are we just going to assign only one presenter, or we are going to speak based on our turn for speaking, or it will just be the assigned presenter will just be presenting, and the other presenters will also help in the question and answer portion. Will that be the ano, ma'am?
Okay, thank you for the question. So before we start to present, I will tell you about the rules first. So there are three: first presenter, and then question and answer session. After that, the next three presenters, and the last three presenters. So after presents, we open the question and answer session after three presenters first. I'm sorry for STEM 8J first. Maybe you can rename your name to your code into your code. For the participant, you can type the participant underscores your name.
Yes, ma'am. I am a co-presenter of 8.6 and 8.7. So what shall I rename, ma'am? What shall I encode in the changing of my name?
Okay, so STM underscores 8.7 underscores your name.
I am also a co-presenter of 8.8.
Oh, I see.
6 and 8.7 po.
Yes, you just can write your code 8.7.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, everyone, good morning. Could I have your attention, please? This seminar is about to begin. Thank you to all the participants. You may check your connection once to avoid any connection loss during the virtual for the presenters. And then because the Zoom room is going to be locked by the committee, and then please, for all the presenters and also the participant, you can open the video. Okay, let me open the conference. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, and
Good morning.
based on your location, and then welcome to this virtual conference on the second international conference and on education and technology, or ICETECH. Before we begin, I would like to say welcome to everyone that has joined in this virtual conference today. Ladies and gentlemen, presenters and participants coming from Universitas PGRI Madiun and other universities, city and country. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Deta Yuyun as the moderator. Please allow me to read the agenda of today's virtual conference. But before I read the agenda, I would like to inform you for all the presenters to upload the PowerPoint in the chat features. For all the presenters, upload the PowerPoint in the chat features. Thank you. So the agenda, our agenda today is, the first is greeting, the reading of the rules, introduce three first presenters, presentation, and question and answer session. For the first presenter will present is the presenter that ready to present and the live presentation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to lead you towards the next agenda, which is reading about the rules. The first rule is the moderator will mention three parallel presenters who will present, Then presenter will present one by one. And then the second one, the time allocated for the presentation for each speaker is 15 minutes. And the third, after the 3 presenters done, I will open the question and answer session for 15 minutes. It will be repeated until the last presenter. And then the fifth, you are not allowed to log in and log out the VCon room and must coordinate first with the committee if you want to leave the VCon room for a while. Then the committee has the right to refuse you to rejoin if you leave the VCon room for too long. The seats, while following the VCon, you must keep the camera on and the microphone must be mute except for those will ask question or response after being invited by the moderator. The seventh, you are required to use the raise hand feature or type it through chat feature when you ask. And then the eighth, you must prepare the presentation 10 minutes before you start and still pay attention to the duration of the presentation time that has been provided for you by the committee. The ninth, if presenter present live, please share screen by yourself and we will facilitate for the video only. But if there is a problem, we will help to share screen. And then the 10th, for the participant who wants to give question, you may type down your name and where are you come from, such as university or city on the chat room. And I will pick the first 3 participants to give their question to the speaker and the presenter. Now, ladies and gentlemen, is there any question before we start to present?
Yes, ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, please.
What will be the new order of presentation since there are some presenters who will be playing video? And that's it, ma'am. What will be the new order of presentation since there have been presenters presenting live and presenting through video?
Okay, thank you for the question. So the first presenters, 3 presenters are the live presentation, and then we open the question and answer session for 15 minutes. And then next presenters, and then after that, I open the question and answer sessions. And then the last one is for the video. And then for the video, they have also the question and answer sessions in the last.
Follow-up question, ma'am.
Yes.
Then who among us will be presenting live and who will be presenting through video?
The presenters will present live that do not send the video of the presentation. So for the video presenters, they have sent the video to the committee.
Yes, ma'am. We had received the list, and then we would like to know the new order of the list already, so that we can also prepare for the presentations of the the live presenters and the video presenters.
Okay, so for the live video is Mr. Damadi for Universitas PGRI Madiun, and then Ahmad Hiki Sujiatmoko, and then Louis Marcos Passion is the live presenters. And then for the video presenters are Munawaro, and then Zainal Arifin, and then Muhammad Akbar. Sorry, is it clear?
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. I happened not to hear the presentation of Miss Janlyn Dut and others.
Okay, for Miss Janelyn and others, it will be a live presentation in the fourth, fifth,
Okay.
and the in the fourth time after the question and answer session for the third for the three first presenters before. So I would like to open the presentation. So for the three first presentation are Darmadi from Universitas PGRI Madiun, uh, and his research entitled Profile of Visual Thinking of Mathematics Teachers Candidates in Designing STEM-Based Learning. And then the second one is Ahmad Heki Sudiatmoko from Universitas Negeri Malang, and his research entitled Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics STEM Teaching Model in the eval Classroom for Facing 4.0 Industry Era. And then the third one is Mark Louis Marcos Patian, Marjon Iris Purisima, Jefferson James Laurelie from MMSU, and then their research entitled Antibacterial Property of Oreganum vulgare or oregano leaf extract infused Nipah fruticans Nipah sanitizing gel against Staphylococcus aureus. And then for the first presenters is Mr. Darmadi from Universitas PGRI Madiun, and his research entitled Profile of Visual Thinking of Mathematics Teacher Candidates in Designing STEM-Based Learning. For Mr. Darmadi, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. My screen can be viewed. You can.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Darmadi. I am from Universitas PGRI Madiun. Thank you for. In order, I am on the first. Okay. My article have title Profile of Visual Thinking of Mathematics Teacher Candidate in Design STEM-Based Learning. We know that 4 basic skills that needed for the 20th century is critical thinking and problem solving, creativity and innovation, communication and collaboration. And slide. Okay, and the STEM education, and we know that STEM is as an education approach is very much for building that skill for our student. On STEM, we know as science, was the study of the nature and as the basis of technology. Technology deals with innovation that are used to meet needs so as we make life better and safer. Engineering was concerned with the knowledge and application of scientific principle to obtain scientific that benefit human economically and environmental friendly. And mathematics refers more to the science of pattern, the relationship that provide the language of technology, science, and engineering. It's my roadmap on 2019, 2015. Our study is about profile of visual thinking in understanding the definition. On 2016, our study is about profile of visual thinking in solving problem. And in 2019, 2021, that I published on this conference is about the profile of visual thinking of mathematics teacher candidates in designing STEM-based learning. And on this year, on 2021, is about development of farm education design learning tools with this STEM approach. And in 2022, it's about farm education with the STEM approach to increase the independence of students with special needs. It's we have of founding by Menristek Dikti. The methods that the research subject that we use are the student of mathematics education department of Universitas PGRI Madiun. The data collection was carried out by using task-based interview techniques, and we use in-depth interview. Students are interviewed for in-depth information. For validated data, we use a time triangulation. Interview conducted again after a week or 2 weeks later to ensure that the data obtained were saturated data. So we get data valid data and then analyzed by coding, reduction, and categorization, so that we have a conclusion by categorization to get clear profile of as conclusion. The task is like this. Make or design STEM-based learning with the theme of garden for grade 2 of elementary school student. For this task, we use in-depth interview, and then by time triangulation and data analysis, by coding, reduction, and categorization, we have a conclusion. On my conclusion, the profile of the visual thinking of mathematics teacher candidate in design STEM-based learning have 4 steps. The first step is target visualization. Student imagine the garden area, shape and size of the area. The step 2 is activities visualization. And then this step, student imagine activities for learning with STEM. And the third stage is time visualization. On the stage, student imagine the time required for each activity and plan it. And the last stage is tool visualization. On this tools visualization, student imagine the tools used for learning and completing projects. It's the result of our study. The result showed that on the visual thinking in designing STEM-based learning, mathematics teacher candidate use contextually visualization to have that state as student use contextually visualization. It's interesting for me. on target activities, time, and tools to be used in learning. And this learning design is very interesting because it meets or matches the STEM criteria and provides the result expected from STEM learning. Thank you. I think that is our presentation. I'm back to moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Damadi, for your presentation. So I would like to let the next presenters. The second presenters is Ahmad Heki Sujiatmoko from Universitas Negeri Malang, and his research entitled Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics STEM Teaching Model in EFL Classroom for Facing 4.0 Industry Era. For the Ahmad Heki Sujiatmoko, the time is yours. I'm sorry, Ahmad Heki Sujiatmoko. Okay, I think there is no Ahmad Heki Sujiatmoko. So I would like to call the next presenters, Marley Marcos and Marl Jefferson, James Paul Lorelli from MMSU with their research entitled Antibacterial Property of Oreganum vulgare, oregano leaf extract infused NIPA futricans sanitizing gel against Staphylococcus aureus. For the Mark and friends, the time is yours.
Good morning, everyone. We are here to present to you our research entitled The Antibacterial Property of Oregano vulgare Leaf Extract Infused NIPA futricans Sanitizing Gel against Staphylococcus aureus. Overview of the study. The COVID-19 pandemic has resulted to 207 million cases worldwide. 4.35 million of those resulted to untimely deaths. Recent study reveals that transmission of SARS-CoV-2 is possible in the form of aerosol and fomite. It can remain viable and infectious in aerosols for hours and on surfaces up to days depending on the inoculum shed. It is then vital to prevent transmission of the disease by isolation and strict infection control tools. Hand hygiene is of utmost importance because hands are more prone in getting contact with the virus. Hand sanitizer is an alternate way to hand washing when soap and water is not available. The pandemic triggered the so-called pandemic pantries, where it shows the utilization of resources around the world. Since the need of frequent hand washing and sanitation across the world was proposed, the number of hand sanitizers in the market gradually decreased. The sale of hand sanitizers is skyrocketed by 300% and 470% in the last week of February and in first week of March 2020. Through years of research, using MMSU's proprietary fermentation and distillation protocol, they were able to produce 70% ethyl alcohol or the NIPAhol from the 95% alcohol. These researchers were able to help mitigate the shortage of supply of safety agents such as disinfectants and sanitizers amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, oregano vulgare oil is a natural source of antibacterial compounds. Phytochemical analysis has revealed the presence of phytochemicals in oregano. Thus, this study looked to conduct a research and an experiment by formulating a new sanitizing gel using MMSU's NIPAhol that was produced from 95% NIPA bioethanol and infusing it with oregano extract gel to be tested against Staphylococcus aureus to evaluate the physicochemical and antibacterial properties of oregano. Here are the objectives of the study. Generally, this study aimed to formulate and determine
the antibacterial property of oregano vulgare infused Nipa fruticans sanitizing gel against Staphylococcus aureus. Specifically, it aimed to first determine the physicochemical characteristics of the formulated oregano infused 70% Nipa sanitizing gel, such as pH, viscosity, temperature, and consistency. Second, determine the zone of inhibition of the formulated sanitizing gel on S. aureus. And lastly, compare the inhibition zones caused by the formulated sanitizing gel and the commercialized sanitizing gel against S. aureus. We use different strategies in our research, and we have divided it into 4 parts. The first one is the preparation of materials and facilities. The second one is the extraction process of oregano and the formulation of Nipa alcohol gels. The third one is the determining and measuring of physicochemical properties. And the last one is the incubation and tabulation of results. This is the methodology shown as a flowchart to simplify the process and method used. We first prepared the materials and also the facilities. And then after that, we formulated the Nipa alcohol gel, and then we extract the oregano using the aqueous extraction method, and then we infuse the two. After that, we determine the physicochemical properties of Nipa alcohol gel infused with oregano extract by measuring the pH level, the temperature, the viscosity. And then we also tested the antibacterial property of the formulated Nipa alcohol gel using the agar well diffusion method. And then after that, we incubated it for 24 hours, and then we tabulated the results. The graph showed the pH level of different treatments. Comparing the results, the researchers observed the pH of the different treatments seemed to get lower as the normal Nipa alcohol gel was infused with increasing amount of oregano extract. The researchers also noted that the pH of the standard Nipa gel was higher in comparison to the commercialized alcohol sanitizing gel. In addition, their pH levels are relatively close with each other. This is the second graph, and it shows the temperature that we have gathered. Comparing the results, the temperature in each treatment varies on the amount of the fixative concentration in the gels. Formulated Nipa sanitizing gels infused with oregano extract showed a close range with each other at various concentrations. However, the concentration of the commercialized alcohol sanitizing gel showed a much higher temperature than the formulated Nipa sanitizing gels.
The third table shows the mean of viscosity of the different treatments. The data shows that 5% infused oregano Nipa gel exhibits the lowest viscosity among the different treatments, while the commercialized alcohol sanitizing gel exhibits the highest viscosity. It is noted that the viscosity of the treatment drops after infusing the standard Nipa gel with oregano extract. The last table shows the zone of inhibition for the respective treatments. As expected, the commercialized alcohol gel exhibited the highest range of inhibition, but as the data shows, when the concentration gets higher, the range in the zone of inhibition gets wider. It is therefore implied that the treatments vary with respect to their concentrations, and each has a definitive resistance against Staphylococcus aureus.
To summarize it all, 4 sets of data were gathered in determining the physicochemical and antibacterial property of oregano vulgare infused Nipa fruticans sanitizing gel. We noted that the pH of the formulated Nipa gels was relatively close in comparison to the commercialized alcohol sanitizing gel. For the temperature, the commercialized alcohol sanitizing gel has a higher temperature, 25.333 degrees Celsius, while the formulated Nipa gels have temperature that ranges from 22 degrees Celsius to 23 degrees Celsius. The data gathered in the viscosity showed that the 5% infused oregano Nipa gel exhibited the lowest viscosity among the different treatments, while the commercialized alcohol sanitizing gel exhibited the highest viscosity. Comparing also the three treatments used in the experiment against the standard commercialized gel, there is a glaring significant drop in the average zone inhibited by these treatments. The 10% treatment, of which its average zone of inhibition is the highest among the treatments with 11.243 millimeters, is still lower by at least 10 millimeters against the commercialized gel. Nevertheless, the development of zone of inhibition against SR use is a positive sign of the inhibitory potential that oregano has when infused with the standard NIPA alcohol gel. With that all being said, we concluded that the oregano-infused NIPA sanitizing gel is effective against SR use and can be used safely as a hand sanitizer.
For our recommendations, we identified key areas for attention in relation to the research. The first one is the extraction process used. The process exhibited in this study was only limited to one, which is the aqueous extraction. We encourage future researchers to use a different extraction process in order to obtain a more accurate result in both the physicochemical characteristics and antibacterial property of oregano. The research was also limited by time. Because of this, we were not able to conduct more trials in each treatment. As such, for future studies, we suggest to maximize the time to collect the needed data and to conduct more trials to avoid inconsistency and inaccuracy of the result. Last but not the least, because of the time limitation, there are several physicochemical properties that were neglected. In order to get a more precise view and background of the sanitizing gels, we recommend other physicochemical characteristics such as color, odor, shelf life, among others, to be determined in future studies.
Here are the references that we have used in our study. Accomplishing this study wouldn't be possible without the following who willingly shared their time, knowledge, resources, expertise, experiences, and pieces of advice. We therefore would like to convey our sincerest gratitude to the following. Our instructor in capstone research project, Professor Jefferson G. Panilo, for his guidance and patience he gave during the conduct of this study. Mariano Marcos State University, National Bioenergy Research and Innovation Center, and College of Engineering, Department of Ceramics Engineering for supporting this research financially and for allowing us to use all available facilities amid the pandemic. Our dear parents, guardians, siblings, and other relatives for their endless sacrifices and patience, as well as moral and financial support. This is the end of our presentation, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for Mark and friends. And then next presenters is Christel Kaye Kabasan, Janeline Nicole, Jamaica, Christian and Jefferson for MMSU, and the research entitled Antibacterial Property of the Formulated Polyherbal Soap for the Everoa bilimbi or Kamias, Allium sativum or garlic, Musa paradisiaca L or banana peelings extract. For the Crystal and friends, the time is yours.
Good morning, everyone. In this room today, I am Janlyn Nicole Dutdut, and I am here to present to you our study entitled Antibacterial Property of the Formulated Polyherbal Soap from the Everoa bilimbi Kamias, Allium sativum garlic, Musa paradisiaca L, banana peelings extracts. On December 2019 at Wuhan City in Hubei province of China, the COVID-19 virus was first identified. It had spread across China and globally, infecting millions of people from all walks of life. It was then declared a pandemic in March 2020, which greatly impacted the global economy and numerous industries. In addition to economic and social disruption, the virus also poses severe threat to public health. In the absence of clinically approved treatments and effective cure, health authorities, including the World Health Organization, issued preventive measures to be followed by the public. And among them are the use of face shields, face masks, social distancing, prohibition of mass gatherings, and hand washing with water and soap. Hand washing with soap is still deemed effective during the pandemic since COVID-19 transmissions is spread mainly by being in contact with contaminated people or contaminated objects or surfaces. And it has always been recommended to wash your hands with water and soap after touching common surfaces or after visiting public places to wash away germs. However, according to United Nations Children's Funds, 40% of the world's population do not have access to hand washing facilities with soap and water. Thus, with such problem, we came up with an idea that will temporarily and hopefully will eventually solve such problem, putting into highlight how polyherbal soaps are of great importance these days. The objectives of the study are the following. Our general objective, this study aimed to formulate antibacterial polyherbal soap containing extracts from cloves of Allium sativum, fruit of Averrhoa bilimbi, and peelings of the Musa paradisiaca L incorporated into one, while the specific objectives of our research are the following. First, it aims to develop polyherbal soap with combined extracts from 3 plants in different concentrations. Second, it aims to evaluate the physicochemical parameters, which are the color, odor, appearance, foam height, and foam retention of the formulated polyherbal soap in comparison to the commercially available antibacterial soap. And lastly, it aims to determine the antibacterial property of the formulated polyherbal soaps in comparison to the commercially available antibacterial soap. The methods are followed as presented. First, what we did is the preparation of the ingredients and materials for the soap making. The second shows the formulation of the polyherbal soap. Third, evaluation of soap's physicochemical parameters. Then the incubation, measurement of zone of inhibitions, and the tabulation of data. The formulated polyherbal soaps were prepared as presented in this schematic diagram. First, the collection and preparation of garlic cloves, camellias, fruits, and banana peelings, which were primarily used for the experiments. This was followed by the process of extraction using the decoction method, or the process of extraction by boiling herbal or plant materials to dissolve its chemicals. Then after the extraction process, it is the combination of each extracts drawn from the 3 main ingredients. The combination of extracts were used for the formulation of polyherbal soaps through hot process method. It resulted to 4 different treatments depending on their concentrations, and each treatment had 3 replications. Treatment 1 has 15% concentration, treatment 2 has 20% concentration, treatment 3 has 25% concentration, while treatment 4 has 30% concentration of extracts. The 4 soap samples, along with the control, which is the commercially available soap, were then prepared for the evaluation of their physicochemical properties and testing of their antibacterial properties through the agar-well diffusion. To identify the similarities and point out differences between this study and previous studies in literature, the following results are presented. The physicochemical properties of the soaps are shown on the table. The formulated polyherbal soaps exhibited good appearances, aromatic odors, and light violet colors. In terms of its pH value, in comparison to the control soap, which is the commercialized soap, the soap formulations expectedly produced alkaline pH ranging from 9.3 to 9.5 pH, which are relatively lower than the commercial soap that has 10.3 pH value. Nonetheless, the pH value that was recorded for the soap formulations may be of relevance in the prevention and treatment of those skin diseases, as it has been proven that the lower the pH value of the soap has, the better it is for the skin, especially in terms of sensitivity. Next is the comparison between the foam heights. The foam height of the soap formulations are much higher than the commercialized soap, with treatment 4 having the highest foam height of 14.4 centimeters and treatment 3 having the lowest foam height of 8.5 centimeters. Meanwhile, the time taken for the complete foam collapse of the different polyherbal soap formulations varied. The foams persisted longer in treatment 4, which means it has the highest foam stability with over 181.48 minutes of foam retention. It was followed by treatment 3, then treatment 2, then treatment 1. Nevertheless, all polyherbal soap formulations showed better foam stability than that of commercialized soap, with only over 67.19 minutes of foam retention. The foam propensity of the formulated polyherbal soaps agrees to the importance of foam on the cleansing ability of soaps, as the foam allows these solutions to sit on surfaces longer, increasing the dwelling time and helping to penetrate into cake of dirt, mud, grease, oil, and other grime. This additional exposure allows the soap in particular to do its job better. The table 2 shows the mean and the SEM, or the standard error inhibition zone of the prepared formulations in comparison to the commercially available soap. The statistical analysis revealed that there is a significant difference on the inhibitory action of the different concentrations of the formulated polyherbal soaps and the commercially available antibacterial soaps against the gram-positive bacteria S. aureus and the gram-negative bacteria E. coli. As seen on the table, the means and standard error of measurements of formulated polyherbal soaps are slightly higher than the calculated mean and standard error of the control soap, which proves the formulated polyherbal soaps are even more efficient than the control soap. The formulated polyherbal soaps are more effective against S. aureus with the highest mean zone of inhibition 22.75 millimeters at 30% extra concentration and less effective against E. coli with the least mean zone of inhibition 8.83 millimeters at 15% extra concentration. Based on the results presented as seen here are the figure 2 and figure 3 shows the agar-well diffusion method of control soap against the gram-positive and the gram-negative bacteria. Based on the results presented on this study, the following conclusions are drawn. The polyherbal soap formulations incorporated with different concentrations of garlic, kamyas, and banana peeling extracts demonstrated antibacterial activities against gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria in which it showed plausible results. While the physicochemical properties of soap formulation showed good characteristics, and exhibited more satisfactory results on pH, foam height, and foam retention in comparison with the commercially available soap. Next. However, the other properties of the polyherbal soap formulation showed it should be further studied so it can be more standardized and can compete in the market, which leads us to discussion of recommendations made based from the results of the study. In this study conducted, the polyherbal soap formulations were tested for its effectiveness of inhibiting both gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria to verify its antibacterial property. The results drawn from the study greatly showed the efficiency of soap against these two bacteria. However, there are some things that should be looked over and given interest. First off, the effectivity of soap against other strains of bacteria. It should be looked into because E. coli and S. aureus aren't the only strains that can get close to a person's skin. Thus, the soap is highly recommended to be tested against different strains of bacteria to recognize the full potential of the formulated polyherbal soap. Bacteria are not the only microorganism that can cause diseases. Fungi can also live on human skin and can cause fungi infections. That's why the testing and study of its antifungal properties is highly recommended as well. Third, potential as a skin cosmetic. According to studies, the herbs incorporated in the soap formulation contain antioxidants that are helpful for the improvement of person's skin. That's why it is also recommended for it to be tested as it is a potential as a skin cosmetic. Fourth, due to limited time, the organisms were not standardized. That's why a standardization of it is also recommended. And lastly, individual herb phytochemical analysis and production as an herbal soap to have more specific view on who and what is the most effective one. These are the references used for our research and for our presentation today. And we would like to acknowledge the following: our advisor, Professor Jefferson G. Panilo, Professor Christian K. T. Beltran, the staff at Microbiology and Biotechnology Laboratory, especially Ms. Cecil Gawat, Dr. Prima E. Franco, Vice President for Academic Affairs of the Mariano Marcos State University. And that's all for our research presentation. I hope it was helpful. Thank you.
The girl is very fine, she's beautiful and
Okay, thank you for all the presenters. Now is the time to question and answer session. Please raise hand or type in the chat feature, and you write your name and also where are you from. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if there is no question, I will go to the next agenda. This is the time for the next presenters. The first presenters is Riva Nurmila and Yulia from STKIP PGRI Jombang, entitled Developing for the Quality of the Student Learning Through the Application of Portfolio-Based Learning. For the Riva and Yulia, the time is yours. Okay, if there's no Riva and Yulia, I will call the next presenter. The next presenter is Edi Suwandi from National Donghua University, Unu Sunanggiri Bojonegoro, and his research entitled Exploring Advantages and Disadvantages Online Peer Feedback on English Foreign Language or EFL Writing Performance During the Pandemic COVID-19. For the Edi Suwandi, the time is yours. Once more, Edi Suwandi. Okay, if there is no Edi Suwandi, I would like to call the next presenter. Okay, for the next presenter is the video presentation, and then for the presenters, you can share the screen, or our committee will serve the video. The first presenter is Munawaroh, Nani, and Lina from STKIP PGRI Jombang, and their research entitled The Influence of Technology-Based PBL Learning Model, Learning Motivation on Entrepreneurship Attitudes in Economic Education Department Student of STKIP PGRI Jombang. For the Miss Munawaroh, you will present by yourself or from our committee? Okay, thank you. For Munawaroh, Nani, and Lina, the time is yours.
Thank you very much. I would like to present my article with the title, The Effect of PBL Model with Technology Bugs and Motivation on Student Entrepreneurial Attitude of Economic Education Department at STKIP PGRI Jombang. I am the first author, Dr. Munawaroh MPhils. The second author is Mrs. Dr. Nalik Sri Sotyani, MSc. And the third author is Dr. Lina Susilawati, ME. Introduction. Learning in the 21st century has influenced the education system, including the education system in Indonesia. Learning quality must be improved through innovation and educational development. With independent campus, freedom to learn, the education system in higher education is designed to encourage higher education institution and students to disrupt and transform themselves rapidly. Literature review. Number 1, entrepreneurial attitude. In the study, an attitude refers to how someone thinks or feels about various aspects of entrepreneurship particularly. This means the response can be positive or negative. A positive attitude is defined as someone who acts and thinks in healthy, ideal, and positive manner. This positive attitude is defined by the courage to make decisions and the courage to take risks as a result of the decision. As in the field of entrepreneurship or business, people with the attitude are referred to as having entrepreneurial attitude. Having an entrepreneurial attitude in general is essential for anyone who wants to entrepreneurial spirit. The entrepreneurial attitude reflects the entrepreneurial activity. Literature review. Number 2, problem-based learning or PBL. According to G.R. Severy, problem-based learning or PBL is an instructional approach that has been used successfully for over 30 years and continues to gain acceptance is multiple discipline. It is an instructional approach that empowers learners to conduct research, integrate theory and practice, and apply knowledge and skill to develop a viable solution to a definite problem. Number 3, web-based learning. Cruz in Rasman acquires that web-based learning has many benefits for students, and one of his writing, titled Using the Web for Learning, which is published on the www.learning.com website. Web-based learning, when designed properly and appropriately, can be fun learning, has a high element of interactive, cause students to remember more subject matter, and reduce operational costs that students typically incur to participate in learning, or, for example, management or school transportation costs. Number 4, learning motivation. Motivation is a condition of cognitive arousal that causes a person to make a choice to act as a result of continued intellectual and or physical effort to achieve some of their previously defined goals. G. Hammer. Method. Quantitative research was used to answer the research question of the study with multiple linear regression tests. With the following research design. The objective is to analyze whether there is an affluence between the problem-based learning model, or PBL, with technology-based, or X1, and learning motivation, or X2. Variable on entrepreneurial attitude variable, or Y, of student in the economic education department at STKIP PGRI Jombang. In the study, there were 206 students as the population from economic education program of STKIP PGRI Jombang. A sample of 136 was obtained by using the Strovin formula. Sample random sampling was used for the sampling procedure. This study used multiple regression to see the effect of two independent variables, namely the PBL model with technology parts, or H1, and learning motivation, or H2, on the dependent variable of entrepreneurial attitude, or Y. Result. It shows that technology parts PBL model variable effects on entrepreneurial attitude, as evident by the T significant value of 0.000 smaller than 0.05, and the T significant value of 0.017 smaller than 0.05 for the learning motivation variable, indicating that the learning motivation variable effect on entrepreneurial attitude of economic education department of STKIP PGRI Jombang. A score of 0-160 showing the magnitude of influence of 60% on the entrepreneurial attitude of the variable PBL model with technology bets and motivation of learning. The low value of R square is caused by the small number of sample and 84% is due to other independent variables not considered. If the study show many other variables outside of PBL and motivation that affect entrepreneurial attitude. Conclusion. It can be concluded that one, there is an effect of the problem-based learning, or PBL model with technology-based and on entrepreneurial attitude. Two, there is an influence of learning motivation on entrepreneurial attitude. And three, there is an influence on entrepreneurial attitude simultaneously on the problem-based learning model with technology paths and learning motivation. In addition, the researchers products guide book for learning paths and problem-based learning or PBL model to enhance the student entrepreneurial attitude and achievement. Thank you for your attention. Is there any question? So the answer will use Indonesian because my English is not friendly.
Thank you for Ms. Munawaroh, Nani and Lina from ICETECH PGRI Jombang. And then for the next presenter is Zainal Arifin, Sukarmin Sarwanto from Universitas 11 Maret, and they researched entitled Students' Perception in Developing Fluid Dynamic Concept Inventory, FDCI assessment based on STEM literacy to master problem-solving skill. For Zainal and friends, the time is yours.
Yes. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for me to share our research. First of all, I'd like to introduce ourselves, our team. So my name is Zainal Arifin, and we are from Department of Physics Education at University of 11 Maret, Surakarta. With our research, the title is Student Perception in Developing Fluid Dynamic Concept Inventory Assessment based on STEM literacy to measure problem-solving skill and need analysis. So the next slide is the background. The background is, first, entering the era of 21st century is big challenge to prepare human researchers who have the various skills needed to face this modern era, such as problem-solving skill, so that this skill is not possible to be formed without a good education. Education is one of the main elements in the development of science and human resources to be reliable, quality, and globally competitive. Modern learning challenge requires students not only to master concept, but also to develop thinking skill, so that it requires pedagogy, curriculum, and assessment to be a key factor in development of 21st century skill. Third, over the past few decades, attention has increasingly focused on the STEM literacy crisis across society. STEM literacy is very important for students to enter the world of work because it is the main competency of 21st century workers. STEM literacy is the ability to make use of information and deal with context-oriented problems by applying different sequences. In addition, students also do a design cycle to deal with problems using various areas of STEM. So one of the physical material related to many natural and technological phenomena is fluid mechanics or fluid dynamic. The properties that occur in fluid dynamics are very important to understand because they have many applications in everyday life, both in the form of simple technology and advanced technology. And then conceptual understanding is the most basic things that must be owned by the student in learning physics. This is because conceptual understanding is the skill of understanding physics concept correctly or not misconception. In the sense of understanding physics concept that apply universally throughout the world. So, of course, this gap cannot be blamed on the party alone because the components are interrelated. The assessment that has been developed by a teacher or researcher may still to be difficult for student and may not provide space for student to respond to the assessment that has been given by teacher. So that the assessment doesn't provide maximum result. Previous research only look at the problem from teacher perspective. The existence of need analysis by involving students in gathering ideas and what they want from the assessment is needed further so that the assessment is meaningful for students. So this need analysis aims to find problems, difficulties, and deficiencies in the instrument that have been used by teacher and student and the student as object in education must also be included in this analysis. So this is the method of our research. First is preparation stage and then implementation stage, research finding and reporting stage. This study used a qualitative descriptive research framework that aimed to capture the present fact, reality, symptom, and event to be accurately presented. Then respondent persons came from 15 high school students in the city of Surakarta. The data was collected through semi-structured interview and analyzed through with a qualitative approach. So, here are the results and discussion. A good concept inventory differs from the usual valuation. The opinion of students play an important role in analyzing the extent to which students understand the material and are able to provide suggestion to the teacher as stable at the start slide shows that the analysis of student. First, student feel about the assessment that developed by by teacher. Then the opinion of the student is also in this slide. So we can conclude this result that first, there are still many students who often have difficulty finishing a fluid dynamic question given by the teacher. This happened because students understand the concept of material, and the assessment given by the teacher requires a lot of formulas or equations that must be memorized by students in answering them. Second, the assessment given by a teacher is not fully related to the phenomenon or its application in various technologies. Third, suggestions from the student from the result of this interview were they wanted an assessment that would encourage students to think broadly and not be fixed by the derivation of many formula. Finally, there is a dynamic fluid assessment innovation based on STEM literacy. Students are very interested in trying this assessment to measure their problem-solving thinking skill. So that's all my presentation. Hopefully what we convey is useful for all of you. Thank you very much for your attention. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for Zainal and friends. And then we go to the next presenter and the last presenter. Muhammad Akbar and Indah Slamet Budiarti from Universitas Cendrawasih and their research entitled Analysis of Higher Order Thinking Skill or HOTS on Simple Harmonic Motion Concept using virtual laboratory based on VBA Excels and Physics Education students of Universitas Cendrawasih. For the Muhammad Akbar and Indah Slamet Budiarti, the time is yours.
Thanks.
Miss. Good morning, everybody. My name is Muhammad Akbar, Department of Physics Education, Universitas Cendrawasih of Papua. The topic is analysis of a higher order thinking skill thoughts on simple harmonic motion context as virtual laboratory based of VBA Excel. The first interaction of which student were give of confident class that contain high level thinking skill, abstraction, and student experiment low grade. Means because physical textbook on grade. The result of observation note of the student of the physical education study program of Universitas of Cendrawasih student already have a high confidence of understanding of and work of problem related of the variant of physics education. One of the software that is often asked in making of solution simulation of physics phenomena is VBA. VBA feature of Microsoft Excel can be used to the tactic can be as move for practicum activities and laboratory to other facility. The practicum is done virtual through online class by creativity in virtual laboratory as learning tools. Understanding the context of simple harmonic motion study focus in student thinking skill. Analysis thinking, critical thinking, critical thinking are the aspect in higher order thinking skill and HOTS is and 64 of study in physics education University Cendrawasih University answered the concept of the simple harmonic motion is the physical concept is difficult to understanding this semester. The research get the thoughts of physics education study of Cendrawasih had never been created out the simple harmonic motion material. The application virtual practicum on with VBA is like mentioned to mushroom study HOTS level based on previous research on the physical contact. The research, the aim this study with analysis order skill HOTS on simple harmonic motion as virtual laboratory based on VBA physics education in physics education student of Cendrawasih University. The research, the method research difficult quantitative data. The analysis that conductive analysis important to study HOTS level simple harmonic motion based on VBA Excel virtual laboratory on discrete number. Population and sample of student 23 study of cluster random of on physics education of Universitas Cendrawasih. Result of discussion, the analysis study and the analysis of answer related of simple harmonic motion of pendulum. Based on answer to study in is can be calculate that three study have not been able to creatively of make the next step with VBA Excel application of context of harmonic oscillation on simple harmonic pendulum. Example of oscillation of pendulum using VBA Excel. The student answered that not understanding the VBA Excel syntax to give of relation between of the vibration variable on swing on the swing because have forget and did not understanding the context of vibration in general. The analysis study answer related to harmonic simple mentions that the problem seen by study A is the phenomenon of damped harmonic oscillation due to a friction to so that the spring will stop moving. Study B look in general solution on ordinary differential equation or order 2. The harmonic mentioned the spring in figure show that the spring can be changed is weight. The is a sinusoidal wave that describable of the process of vibration and in spring that has been given of creating mass. The student answered that confused by the compact of variable in spring because her not familiar with ordinary differential mathematical equation. Analysis of study answer related to damped oscillation. Study a difficult distinction between damping force and frequency. Angular to that is thinking the one calculation will study B have the right answer, but explanation is not quite right. The studies are not able to analyze the context of damping oscillation mentioned phrase in the problem after an implementation of a virtual laboratory based on PBI Excel. Example of damping oscillation mentioned is PBI Excel. The graph show of the damping virtual vibration solution virtual laboratory based on PBI is exponential graph. Exponential graph. Student answer the context of different damped vibration has other variable named damping force, namely damping force. Well, damping in force in grading the angular force of the pendulum or spring variable vibration, the vibration will eventually stop for a constant time. Analysis study Hawkes level in simple harmonic motion. Analysis, evaluation, and gravitation. Analysis to 26%, evaluation 16%, rating 13%. Analysis of studies Hawkes level in simple harmonics mentioned. The student has ordinary instinct skill participant did not reach 100%. This increased that 42% of study had not affected his high order thinking skill. After in interviews where thinking is was minimizing the lecture applicates learning method or were damping by lecture method and this was the first time and the student we familiar with PBA as learning medium of virtual laboratory on context simple harmonic mention. Okay guys, first of the positive side of seeing virtual laboratory based on VBA Excel is of visual practicum without the need for real teaching pendulums of spring wheels are usually not on rules area. Student can see the visualization of pendulum swing in movement and through simulation version by virtual experiment based on VBA. Is especially practical work because students only need to use a laptop, computer and Excel software. VBA Excel has not been able to visual descriptive the ocean of damping vibration optimal because studies can not observe with the 5 sense parameter make the vibration of object stop. It can be weak that make study to develop their thinking skill at the HOTS level because study cannot analysis error on error the are usually formed during our practicum. Thank you. During our practicum.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much for Mr. Muhammad Akbar and also Indah from Universitas Cendrawasih. So after this, I would like to open the question and answer session. For the questioner, you may can type in the chat feature or raise your hand and mention your name and also where are you from. Thank you.
Could this research be developed on a larger scale on industry? Next slide.
Is there any question? If there is any question, you can type in the chat feature and also you can raise your hand and mention your name and where are you from. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Tanya, Mbak.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I have some question. The first is to Mr. Munawaroh. Tadi mintanya bahasa Indonesia, jadi saya harus pakai bahasa Indonesia. Ya, saya tertarik pada penelitiannya Bu Munawaroh. Cuma permasalahannya saya kok belum dapat apa sih kan tadi pakai PBL ya, problem based learning. Nah, problemnya itu seperti apa? Itu yang pertama. Terus yang kedua, Bu Munawaroh, ini tentang tadi pengambilan sampel adalah pakai random sampling. Nah, pertanyaannya adalah bagaimana, kenapa kok tidak menggunakan cluster random sampling? Itu aja, Pak. Terus the second question is to Mr. Zainal Arifin. It's about student perception. Why not use triangulation to get a valid data, and or as you use triangulation, what triangulation you use? And the second question is how about coding and so on for the qualitative methods? And the two question to Mr. Muhammad Akbar is what is? Can you tell me why your problem that you use is include in on HOTS problem? I think just like that. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you for Mr. Darmani for the question. So I would like to call Ibu Munawaroh to answer the question. For Ibu Munawaroh, the time is yours. Thank you.
Terima kasih Pak Jarmadi, sama-sama dari PGRI, menggunakan bahasa
I'm
Indonesia.
sorry, Ibu Munawaroh. Ya, mohon maaf itu suaranya agak ada pantulan seperti itu.
Sudah?
Ampun.
Ya, baik, terima kasih Ibu Munawaroh, silakan.
Terima kasih Pak Jarmadi. Tadi saya menggunakan bahasa Indonesia ya Mbak. I'm sorry. Pak Jarmadi tadi bertanya tentang problemnya seperti apa menggunakan PBL atau Electronic Problem Based Learning. Kebetulan dalam penelitian saya ini tidak hanya menggunakan problem based learning, tapi electronic problem based learning. Jadi bagaimana metode problem based learning itu berbasis teknologi informasi. Di sini saya menggunakan elektronik PBL. Kebetulan kami juga melakukan kolaborasi dengan CV. Kebetulan CV di sini adalah CV yang ada di Jombang, yaitu CV Avindo Informatika. Bagaimana mahasiswa itu dengan problem based learning itu dia tidak mempunyai suatu masalah atau miss antara dosen dan mahasiswa. Kemudian kebetulan bukunya sudah jadi Pak. Ini Pak Jarmadi, jadi di sini sudah habis. Kebetulan ini merupakan salah satu dari penelitian saya hingga PDIPT yang kami didanai oleh Kemenristek Dikti. Yang hari ini seminar ini kami lakukan adalah salah satu luaran yang kami gunakan bahwa EPBL di sini mempunyai fungsi untuk memecahkan suatu masalah. Bagaimana dengan EPBL ini mahasiswa itu termotivasi, apalagi dengan situasi pandemi seperti ini yang kita melakukan satu pembelajaran daring. Kemudian walaupun kami sudah mempunyai SPADA, tapi kita dalam prodi pendidikan ekonomi mempunyai suatu buku panduan tentang electronic problem based learning. Di dalam electronic problem based learning ini, bagaimana mahasiswa itu bisa termotivasi dengan pembelajaran kewirausahaan yang ada di perguruan tinggi dan dapat menumbuhkan sikap kewirausahaan itu. Kemudian dengan buku pedoman ini supaya tidak terjadi miskomunikasi antara dosen dan mahasiswa, kemudian dapat membantu mahasiswa untuk memberikan ada interaksi antara dosen dan mahasiswa di dalam pembelajaran kewirausahaan. Memang di prodi pendidikan ekonomi mempunyai suatu, di samping SPADA mempunyai suatu kebetulan model pembelajaran problem based learning ini mempunyai satu aplikasi yang dikatakan dengan aplikasi EPBL. Ini khusus untuk mata kuliah kewirausahaan ya Pak Jarmadi. Kalau untuk ke mata kuliah yang lain, kami masih belum mempunyai satu aplikasi. Nah di sini digunakan untuk apa? Misalnya nanti mahasiswa itu terutama masa pandemi ini supaya tidak terjadi miskomunikasi antara dosen dan mahasiswa. Kemudian aplikasi ini juga membantu manajemen informasi mengenai kegiatan pembelajaran yang berada di STKIP terutama di prodi pendidikan ekonomi. Seperti itu. Kemudian, mengapa kami menggunakan random sampling, tidak menggunakan cluster? Kebetulan kami di sini menggunakan secara individu, ya Bu ya. Mulai mahasiswa angkatan tahun 2017, 2018, dan 2019. Kemudian kami berikan cara random sampling, di mana setiap angkatan kan di semester ke-6 ada mata kuliah kewirausahaan. Seperti itu Pak Darman.
Oke, terima kasih Bu.
Ingin buku saya, silakan Pak bisa membeli.
Siap, J.
Sesama PGRI, barangkali lewat Pak Prof. Padi boleh. Bila saja Munahara ada buku EPBL, murah kok Pak, enggak mahal. Terima kasih Matur nuwun. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for Ibu Munawaroh. And then for the next is question for Zainal Arifin. What is the triangulation that you use and how about the coding? For the Mr. Zainal, the time is yours. I'm sorry, Mr. Zainal.
Masih di mute itu, Mbak.
Sorry, Mr. Zainal or Mr. Sukarmin or Sarwanto. You can answer the question from Mr. Darmadi. Okay, because there is no Mr.
Okay.
Darmadi. Okay.
The problem
I'm sorry for interrupting. This is
Yeah.
Mr. Muhammad Akbar.
Yes,
Okay, so Mr. Muhammad Akbar, you can answer the question.
the problem uh, the problem to research the problem to research yaitu the problem to research who can study visualization to visualization physics education physics equation because PBR for solution on solution or visualisasi of equation physics. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Muhammad Akbar, is it finished?
Finish.
Okay. Is it clear for Mr. Darmadi?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much for all the questioners and also and then I would like to call Mr. Zainal Arifin to answer the question of Mr. Darmadi. Excuse me, Mr. Zainal Arifin. Okay, I think Mr. Zainal Arifin is not here. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to open the next question and answer. If you have any question for the other researcher, you can just type or mention your name and where are you from.
Okay, thank you very much for moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to present my research about developing the quality of student learning, the application of portfolio-based learning. Introduction. Research background. Along with the development of science and technology advance in the era of the Industrial Revolution 4.0, the learning paradigm in higher education has undergone many changes, especially in the implementation of the learning process from face-to-face to online. At this time, it's very necessary to prepare learning as well as assessment that can be used as effectively as possible, where the implementation of learning is carried out during so that learning can be carried out properly can control student activities. Portfolio assessment-based learning is suitable for courses that require student learning output in the term of knowledge, skill, and attitudes. This assessment is in the form of the assessment of a systematic and organized collection of student work taken during the learning process within a certain time. The portfolio-based learning model refers to a number of basic principles of learning, namely the principle of active student learning, 2. Cooperative learning groups, 3. Participatory learning, 4. Reactive teaching, and 5. Joyful. The urgency of this research as follows. 1. There's still a lack of research that examines the application of portfolio-based learning and portfolio assessment applied to students. 2. The development of lecturer resource in tertiary institution and the sphere of education and teaching need to be improved. One of them is by developing innovative learning in accordance with the condition and situation in the 4.0 revolution era. Because the quality and professional lecture results in the field of education and teaching. It can procedure quality learning and quality student learning outcome. Next. Research method. Research design use the research quasi-experimental research using quantitative method. This design was carried out without the use of control group or comparison group. Research sample, students of the 2018 and 2019 Class B Mathematics Education Study Program, STKIP PGRI Jombang. Data collection, the data collection method used in observation method and test method. Research instrument used to measure student activity is the form and observation sheet. 2. The learning outcomes test sheet instrument is used to measure student learning outcome in cognitive speed. Procedure research. 1. The preparation step including reviewing phenomena in file, determining of the type of research design and prepare data collection tool. 2. The implementation stage, namely observation, giving test, and document. 3. Analysis stage, which is analyzing all data results from the implementation stage. Quantitative data in analysis using statistic and quantitative data is analyzed descriptively. 4. Writing research report. Next. Research and discussion. 2. Activity student. And then 7 aspect observed. 1. Group work. 2. Group discussion or participant notes. 3. Presentation of assignment. 4. Individually activity log diary. 5. Test. 6. Attendance list. 7. Negative note. Present and category can look. Category group work very active. Group discussion active. Presentation very active. Individual activity diary active. For test very active. Attendance list very active. And negative note very less active. Next. Learning outcome tested based on student learning outcome that obtained individually, then based on the result of the analysis obtained an average learning outcome of 84.102. Next. Result and discussion. The portfolio-based learning has several advantages, including the following. 1. Student learning activities can improve both cognitively and spacically. 2. Student understanding of the material being studied and getting better and can increase learning motivation. 3. Effectively train students to value time to learn. 4. Honesty and self-confidence in participating in learning can be seen from the result of the recap of his theory while attending lecture for educational philosophy courses. 5. Students can document learning outcome in a coherent manner during the learning process activity. Next. Conclusion. Above, it can be concluded Then the application of learning with a portfolio-based learning in the philosophy of mathematics education shows the result of student activities in the active and very active category. Meanwhile, student learning outcome also showed high average result. This can be used as an indicator that individual student learning readiness is good and has good self-confidence. Next, suggestion that can be given after the implementation of research and research result. One, because learning can be directly supervised on student activities, here still obstacle to the network and other readiness, so it's necessary to plan learning strategies. Two, the application of portfolio-based learning can minimize student deficiencies in their term of learning by broadly explaining their activities in learning so that further researcher can develop portfolio-based learning on other material and other level of education. Next. Thank you very much for attention. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rifa. It's so interesting research. So I would like to open the question and answer session. If there are any question, you can type in the chat feature, or you just can mention your name and ask for the presenter. Okay, everybody, I think that's all. And I would like to inform you some information. The first one is the certificate will process and send by email. And then the proceeding Atlantis Press will conduct one review again from the Atlantis Press itself. And then the third one is if the article received by the Atlantis Press, you will pay the fund you will pay fund around 1,750 rupiahs. And for all the presenters, thank you very much for joining our international conference. And we will conduct the next ICETECH 3 in the same date in 2022. We are waiting for you all in the next year. Thank you very much. And thank you for the presenter and participant. I hope the virtual conference will be useful and beneficial for you. Thank you once again, and I wish you good luck. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih. Sama-sama. For all the presenters, if this is the end, so you can join in other breakout room. Now you can leave this breakout room. Thank you very much once again.